want to touch on a bit more, I don't know if esoteric is the right word, but a bit more of the stuff that's hard to really quantify. If I can find my blog here and look at a couple things there. I just want to look at a couple of, Dr. Hicks has to do images for each blog entry that we did. I really hated doing those at the time, so I'm not a very visual person. As you can see, I didn't do a few of them. But in a lot of ways, I thought it was kind of helpful looking back because you had these little images to kind of encapsulate what was going on with you at the time. There's a couple of kind of, I think, kind of highlight what my experience was like and what I think the experience is probably like for a lot of y'all. First one that I want to look at is right here. It's kind of, I don't remember at the time whether it was a mountain range or a roller coaster. I think it was a roller coaster, but I think it's very symbolic of kind of our journey. There are a lot of ups and downs. There are a lot of times you feel good about what you've done, and a lot of times you feel really bad. I think, for instance, of this time last week when I came in to give my drawing presentation, and Hunter looked like he hand slipped, and about we poor Matt had the shakes and coffee. Listen, everybody, we were just all at it, and we were thinking about these 3 or 4 different projects that we had to finish before now. Maybe back then we were down here, now we're up here. But just kind of the roller coaster, a lot of those ups and downs are part of the teaching process. And then that just, I think, really symbolizes the entire process, how it was for me. Just so many highs and lows, which I think is kind of natural because we work with students, and they're very much like that at that age. They aren't even keeled. Those are just growing and developing, experiencing things for the first time. Then this one is one I used 2 or 3 different times throughout the placement. The first time was in my early fall. It's somebody falling down and getting back up. So I just think through of all the things that we've all done that haven't gone well, and how we didn't stop. We just kept moving. We learned from our mistakes, and we just kept going. That's kind of the one big thing I kind of took away from really my whole internship experience. There are a lot of things I saw that worked and didn't work, and a lot of getting used to it, but I think the biggest thing that me and probably everybody kind of took away from it was just, in a way, just surviving and just getting through all these things the first time, getting through all these things, going through a lesson that didn't go well, going through days when I really thought that I'd lost the students, they'd never listen to me again because, maybe I gave them a reason not to respect me or not to take me seriously. And just seeing that kept on going and kept on working. And then you get through it, and then afterwards, I talk about this a lot on my blogs. I thought about sharing with y'all, but it was too long to. Anyway, just how you keep on going. When you look back, you see I did all this, and then you kind of get this calmness about you, and it just kind of transforms the way you do things. I think that's a big part of the growth process. That's actually one of the things that one of the other teachers at the school said to me the last day. Well, the crappier your student teacher teaching goes, the better, because then you've seen all those bad things. They're going to happen to you at some point already, so now the next time you see them, they aren't going to be as bad. And that's just a few of the ways I think I've grown throughout the semester. Not just the semester, but the whole process, my whole time in college. So, questions, comments?
Excellent. Digging into, like we did a little bit, shall I a little bit about assessment first? Some good things you do that. Thanks.
Assessment, I know you said before, that's one of the tough ones. Personally, I think that was very high on my list of toughest tasks to deal with. And that's definitely one where I'd like to continue to grow and develop my career. Okay, again, what I talked about in the start of this thing is that I believe that we need to first set this time our assessments to our goals and the SOLs. And if I remember right, I kind of have an example of this part of my lesson reflection website. For example, let's look real quick at kind of how the SOL is compared to my goals. It's kind of hard to see with the size of the print, unfortunately, but basically the idea was that all my goals kind of came out of big ideas with the understandings, and all the essential knowledge later on kind of came up from the, this doesn't look the way it was supposed to, anyway. Basically all the goals and understandings and questions all come out of the SOLs, then those goals are then reflected in the unit tests. So a lot of my basic goals became kind of the questions on my test. This is kind of different take home, so it's a lot different from the rest of my tests during the internship. And my main focus was connecting the assessment to the goals, which can be difficult sometimes. For my classroom personally, my teacher really centered her class around the textbook, not necessarily always teaching with the textbook, but just that was kind of the way she revolved how she taught the curriculum when she taught what. So we used the textbook test maker that went along with that to kind of make the tests. And that was kind of a difficult thing for me because it was really helpful because it saved me a lot of time, but at the same time, I didn't always like how it worked out as far as the tests and the questions that were being created, because I didn't think it necessarily reflected the way I always taught. So Escape was definitely a difficult one for me. I also included a lot of different kinds of projects. That was really important. I had my growth and student writing project. That's an example of 3 of the unit projects I did with my college class. Go down at the bottom, you can see. A prompt about using the national anthem, picking a national anthem of the country and analyzing it, which went along with the whole nationalism activity. You all who are in the cohort experienced me teaching that lesson where I used marking up the national anthem. This went along with that. Comparing different speeches, also comparing visual sources as well. With my projects, I tried to get them doing kind of authentic things, looking critically and analyzing different kinds of documents. I tried to document, very public documents so that you have stuff that appeals to visual learners and just different kind of learners. The national anthem, one thing I was really happy with how it worked out. For example, this is the student with Nigeria. He just has a log here, where places here where he talks about how things really strike him. I think he was either, I'm not actually sure, I think he was either from Nigeria or he had a very strong connection to this country. He talks about it a lot. So it's really cool that in this project I was able to get that connection out and really get him interested in what we were doing. That was one that I was really happy about. And also some ones where I did some different things, like here in the Air War project for my honors class. Maybe. A lot of them I tried to do varied up, kind of do different things. This one, for example, had you, there's the Air War one. With the Air War one, for example, I had them do propaganda. They could kind of choose. If you were more into drawing, you could do a poster. If you were more into just a literary sort of person, you could write a speech. Try to give them options to kind of maximize their ability to maximize what their strength is. So that's some of the things I did with systems. Does that cover what you were looking for?
And then can you just show me your curriculum map, how you laid out what was going on there with
just that kind of
planning,
gives you
and then what happened in you were in a different school. Is it the very bottom? Last sentence.
Yep.
Yeah, go down first. And it's hard to see, but they are all kind of aligned with the SOLs. The first one, like in class, drawing prompts on nationalism, exams, places, exits, small stuff like that. Like a DBQ I did for the honors students for this unit, and just trying to vary it up. Then you see here, I thought about, this is not what I wound up doing, but getting research skills in, different in class prompts. Just trying to incorporate a lot of different ways of doing a lot of different things. A lot of these didn't wind up happening due to time reasons. We had our gym collapse, we lost next week at school, we were going to school for less time. So a lot of these didn't happen, but basically just trying to vary it up and using a variety of different assessments that were kind of tied to things in the SOLs and the NCSS themes.